It's actually raining a little bit here, not too bad. And we have some guests with us today from different parts on the planet. And we're going to talk to them a little bit about what's going on with them and what's going on with their music and just say hi. So the first person I'm going to bring on today is Les Fradkin. I'm going to just bring him on right here. And there he is. Hello, Les.
Hello, Tamanie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
So did I say your name right, Fradkin?
Yes, you did.
Yay. So tell us a little bit about your music and what inspires you and things like that.
Well, the music I've been doing for quite some time is influenced a lot by classical music because that's my background. I'm a trained classical musician who plays rock music.
Nice.
So you could best describe it as neoclassical progressive rock.
Wow.
As far as a label.
Very niche. Yeah. Very niche.
Well, but it's broader than that because I write the music in a pop context. Even when I'm doing instrumentals, I'm still trying to write hooks like a normal pop songwriter.
Wow.
And solos and bridges and things like that. So the structure of it is much closer to traditional pop music than it is to progressive rock, which tends to go on for 10 or 18 minutes per song. And I don't write about fantasies of mountains climbing in the sky or anything like that.
How long have you been doing it? How long have you been into music like this?
Well, I've been professional since 1969.
Wow. You were 2.
No, I was a bit older. So,
you were just 2. Go with it.
Yeah. Okay. Child prodigy.
So where can people learn about you? Where's your bio? Where can they find out about you and your music?
Well, I'm on Wikipedia, of course, and I'm on YouTube. I have my own website, lesfradkin.com, and I'm on Reverb Nation. My music, I've done, I think, about 25 albums since 2003. So,
wow.
And I was in the original cast of Beatlemania on Broadway in the 70s. Played George Harrison in that production. And so, yeah, you just type my name on Google. It'll give you everything you want to know.
Very cool. So what projects are you working on now?
Just promoting the new album, which is the Les Fradkin News.
Nice.
New album. And I also continue to promote the record I did for Bongo Boy, Escape from Earth.
Okay.
The News album is vocals and regular songs about it's, well, some people call it prescient. My wife and I wrote the music in 2003 and released it then, and everybody thought we were crazy. It was a rock opera about a dystopian future, which we now have arrived at. Mm-hmm. So all the music and the lyrics have come true. And so we're promoting that because it's of the current moment.
Yeah.
And so that's what System Crash is about and what all the other songs on the album are about. The instrumental stuff is more timeless, if you will, because it doesn't involve lyrics, and so it can be played anywhere internationally, and there's no language barrier.
Do you play all the instruments on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's what I like. You're one of those. Very talented, very talented. So tell me a little bit about, 25 albums, good gosh, how you've evolved from, say, the first album until, your most recent.
Well, when I started doing my own albums, I'd been in bands before. The Beatlemania group did an album for Arista. I did an album with Thornton, Fradkin, and Unger for ESP. I did 22 singles and 4 albums for Laurie Records from the 70s through the 80s as a producer and an artist. And I also recorded on MGM as their Sunflower Records first artist.
Wow.
So that goes back to 1970. And I've also been a session musician for hundreds and hundreds of recording sessions.
Okay. Who was your favorite to play for, session-wise?
Session-wise? Gee, I don't know. Well, Mickey Most was a very interesting producer because when I worked with him, I was recommended to him highly, but I was still cautious when I went into the studio. And, he did the Animals and Herman's Hermits and Jeff Beck and Donovan. And so I'm thinking, well, I got to be brilliant for this guy, but I don't know what he wants. And
Right.
so I walked in and I said, well, what do you want to hear? And he looked up from the newspaper and he said, you're the genius. You figure it out. I never asked another producer again what they wanted to hear. I simply
Wow.
did what I thought was the right thing to do. So he was
And it
one of the
worked
good
out,
ones.
didn't it?
Yes. The producers back in those days were real music people. They were not button pushers. In
Right.
fact, they didn't generally play. Well, Mickey played guitar, but most of the producers then were very musical people. You could go to them with a project or an idea and you could discuss it and get
I
real
mean,
feedback about it. There was, even though there was no YouTube or anything like that, you could learn a lot more about how to make a record. I hesitate to use the word correctly because there's no real correct way to make a record,
right.
but you could learn how to make the record in a way that they were making it because they were the ones having the hits, So you paid attention and tried to figure out what was going on, and so I learned an awful lot in the early days about how to make records from Phil Spector, from Mickey, from a
Wow.
variety of people.
Wow. So if you could give one of our listeners or one of our other members a bit of advice, what would be the one bit of wisdom you think that you would give them
In the current moment,
in the
don't
current moment?
quit your day job if you have one.
Right?
Uh, Here's the thing. There are three pieces of advice I could give. The first is be yourself, because once you become famous for something, the industry is reluctant to allow you to do something other than what you're famous for. And so this myth, oh, once I become famous, I can do what I want, is absolute nonsense. Once you become famous, that's who you are to them. And unless you continue to do who you are to them, they don't want to know. So, when you get into the music business, such as it currently is, you really have to figure out who you are and stop wasting time trying to get gigs at something you're not just to get a gig. That's the second piece of advice. Pick your spots.
Yeah.
The third piece of advice is get good legal help, because the contracts are really onerous and hard to live up to. And you don't want to end up like a guy like Emmett Rhodes, who recently passed away, who signed this idiotic deal with ABC Dunhill to make 6 albums in 3 years, and he played all the parts himself, and it took him 9 months per album, which made it impossible for him to honor the agreement. He admitted it himself.
Wow.
And so this is the advice. Don't sign agreements you can't live up to just to get a deal. We're living in an age now where you can put your own record out anyway. And I say this in possible opposition to my own business model, because I own a very successful independent label and a very, very large independent publishing company. And that's the fourth piece of advice.
Okay.
Without any question, own your own copyrights. Do not give them away. Do not sign them away. I don't care if they're promising you the moon. Do not give away your intellectual property. It's a complete mistake. You'll end up with nothing.
Yeah. And I'm sure, since, the internet, you've evolved too with all this, changes with ASCAP and BMI and SOCAN and different, countries evolving with their music adaptations of what's proper and appropriate and what's not.
I'm not sure what you're asking. I've been with ASCAP since August 1970.
Wow.
And I've never left.
Good.
They always pay.
Yeah.
And they don't pay precisely per play, but you make more money with them. If you have a hit record, you'll make more money with ASCAP than you will with BMI.
ASCAP and BMI, both of them actually have been very, educational and informative with a lot of, at least our members that I know of, about what's going on with the legal, like with Spotify and things like that. They've been very helpful to independent artists, from what I can tell, even, for the last 40, 50 years.
I'll give you an example of how unfair the pay system is now. And I hesitate to say this because, I'm being played a lot on Spotify now. I've had almost 30,000 plays in the last 40 days.
Wow.
On the new stuff, which is I'm grateful for. But in the old days, you would be paid 9 cents per song per record sold, which of course doesn't exist now, unless you're selling CDs or vinyl. And ASCAP would pay 20 cents per play, per airplay. That's unfathomable now. You couldn't make that kind of money now. So one of the problems that I feel, if you will, empathy for young up and coming writers is that there's really a lot more difficult possibilities for making what you would call a living out of
Yeah,
music. It
sure.
takes it takes the same amount of persistence, if not more, because see, when I started out, there were only 200 places in the charts, and there were only about 400 people making music professionally. Now there's 4 million.
Right.
So, it's a lot harder to be heard through the radar and the noise and all the stuff going on.
Yeah.
But if you've got something different, and I mean different,
That's key.
stop
Yeah.
trying to, for people who are trying to think, if I just get on American Idol, it's garbage.
Right.
No offense to American Idol. They've made a lot of stars out of their people, but they've also made a lot of slaves out of their people.
Sure.
I speak about this candidly because, it's, you have to be who you are, whatever it is you are, and you have to discover who you are before you start trying to do that as a pro.
Yeah.
You won't get anywhere otherwise.
Wonderful. Well, I see Lisa has just popped in now, so
Hello.
I will. I want to thank you though, Les, for joining me today and for giving us your insights. And I look forward to seeing what you're coming up with next. And
Okay.
I'm always here if you need anything from me. I'm always here to help and just help you out.
Okay. I'll
Okay.
sign off.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, and now we're gonna bring on Miss Lisa. What is up, girlie? Hello.
Hi, darling. Wait a minute. I'm putting my little earbuddies.
Okay.
I'm so not tech. Okay.
You're adorable. You're fine.
My husband always is like, "Can you please just learn some of this?"
Oh, well, I miss you. It's good to see your face.
I miss you too. I know, and I'm so glad you're feeling well. You look
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah.
You look beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. It's the lighting. No, and I know you had to hurry to get here today, and I want to thank you for scrambling to get here. And I know you just got busy. You just got a new album out. You're working on your music.
Well, I do have to confess, the reason I was out and I messed up was that I had a chance to get my hair done, and
Oh, good. It looks great.
okay. And so I'm like, today getting your hair done is a big thing because you may not get that
I
opportunity
know.
again for.
So you're up there in Washington State.
Yeah, I'm in Washington State in Auburn, which is about like 50 minutes south of 55 minutes south of.
Are things getting somewhat back to normal up there for you guys, or is it still kind of chaotic?
I mean, I don't go into Seattle that much at all anymore, but it's it's kind of normal. I mean, it's not what live music is not back, and
Right.
that for me that's the measure of normal. You know what
Right.
I mean? If
We actually have a gig coming up. My band and I do October the 24th, and it's outside.
yeah.
And we're expecting a bunch of people, so we're hoping that goes well. But that's the first time this year that we've been able to actually. Hey, we're gonna go play some music.
I'm telling you, I miss it so much, and they're not even doing out. Well, of course, here it's starting to rain in October, but yeah, I just released 2 new singles, and that's one in August, one in September, and I've got a brand new one also coming out at October 30th. So.
Yay! You're busy girl. Busy.
Well, yeah, what I did was I had the opportunity to write with my producer, Brandon B., who is really an incredible, amazing, not just producer, but an artist himself.
Wow.
I didn't know, he was telling me one day we were recording and he mentioned something about, back when I opened for Adam Levine and Maroon 5, and I'm like, you what? So,
no way.
Like way back right before they became super famous. Yeah. Because I had noticed something on his Instagram about it. But anyway, so when Brandon asked if I would write, be interested in writing some music with him, I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah.
Wow, how exciting is that?
So we went in the studio at the end of May, in the middle of COVID, and we went in there and wrote 5 songs and worked with his partner who does all the sound engineering and actually produced 2 of my songs that are on the breakthrough. Also, Matt Turgensen, who is fabulous. He did all the sound engineering, and then Brandon and I wrote and recorded 5 new songs. Brandon plays all the instruments on all the music. I mean, like 7 instruments.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah, so we're releasing them one at a time. I'm releasing them one at a time. Yeah, and so that's what I'm doing, the 3rd one now. That's kind of the
and congratulations on your ISSA 2020 gold win.
Woo! What an honor, right?
Nailed it. You nailed it.
So wow. Such a surprise. I screamed. You saw
I was so curious. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. And so that means that this next year you're judging. Of course, you're going to be performing at our pre-party.
Yes.
Yes, and you're going to be judging, and we're going to get you on stage presenting, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun. Let's hope and pray they figure all this out before next August so we can actually hang out again, because I do miss seeing your sweet face.
I miss you too. And everybody, right? Because we were all so excited to come back together, and yeah,
this wasn't going to happen. And even thinking about it now, if I had it to do over again, I would. It's still not in control. So even here in Atlanta, things haven't gotten back to normal. They're expecting right here where the CDC is. They're expecting another surge. They don't know what's going to go on until they find a vaccine for it. So it's just kind of iffy. And I didn't want to put our people in any kind of situation like that.
The position that you were in. And I mean, I totally respect that. The good news is I heard, just a little side thing, that the WHO did acknowledge that the shutting down is actually hurting and making things worse.
Wow, really?
Yeah, that was on the news yesterday.
Wow, for business and everything.
Certain news channels won't report that, but let's just say it was very much an official statement by the WHO.
Wow.
My husband's in integrative healthcare, holistic healthcare with acupuncture, and he's been saying from the beginning, definitely people who are at risk, they should, by all means, like my mom is 85 and she's got bronchitis, but to shut everybody down really. It hurt the immune system, I can
see that.
Yeah.
I'll just be glad to get out to play with my band, even though it's outside. We're 6 feet apart and got our instruments. We're going to sing anyway. So
and then let's
play in the dirt.
Right. And play in the dirt. I mean, that's how you get strong.
Playing in the dirt. I'm like, go play in the dirt.
You got to build those immune systems. So yeah.
And of course, and my hubby, you met Jim. He was raised on a farm. He's had his arms in horse poop for I don't know how long. So he's like, I'm immune to everything.
Probiotic. He's got a lot of good antibiotics.
Right. Anyway, so tell everybody where they can find your music.
So you can find my music on all digital platforms, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. Also, I have a website, lisamitz.com, and when you go on there, it'll give the new singles right on there. My web designer puts them right up on the homepage, so my web manager. And and basically everywhere. And
I wanted to ask you too, what was your inspiration for these last, say, 5 songs?
So the inspiration behind The Breakthrough, which is what won the gold.
Amazing song. I love that song.
Yeah, that really was my own struggle in feeling like, the lines are, this is how the darkness feels right before the dawn. This is what the breakthrough looks like right before it comes. Because I think especially as indie artists where I just learned the fact that there's over 40,000 songs being uploaded to Spotify every single day. Okay.
Yeah.
And so you kind of feel like, you're in a million, you know what I mean? Like, when is my break ever gonna happen? I've been at this for years, and and I'm sure people feel that way in every aspect of life, right?
Yeah.
And that's really the inspiration that I was like, but wait a minute, I know that it is darkest right before the dawn. That's the sign that the sun is about to rise.
Amen.
And, and that's really the breakthrough. Most people give up right before they have a breakthrough, and you never know when that's going to be. So, so that was the inspiration behind that.
And you have a cause. You need to talk about your cause.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. So, out of a music video and a song I actually wrote with Alan Stone. Alan Stone has become a very huge R&B famous artist. I've got to work with him before he became famous. I always told him, you're going to make it, dude. And sure enough, we co-wrote an album together called You Found Me in 2011 in October. When that album released, he went on Conan Live that night. And that was the last time I saw Alan. I'm like, okay, I knew that was going to happen. But on that album, we wrote a song in the studio. We wrote all the songs together. It's called Where Has Love Gone? And when I wrote it, Alan did the music and I wrote the lyrics. And I really felt like this deep, like, what is this song? Is so deep. And I didn't really fully get it until shortly after the album release. David, my husband, was introduced to a song called Our Silence is Shameful. It was a music video about trafficking here in the U.S. And it was a very powerful, simple music video. But he just started weeping. And I'm like, oh, my God, what happened? He goes, you have to watch this.
Right.
He had no idea. He's a healthcare practitioner and a pastor, and we had no idea this was happening right here in our backyard.
Right.
That it's the second highest crime in the world and in the U.S. Mm-hmm. So out of that, he said, honey, I think this is why you wrote that song.
Oh.
And so he goes, we should do a music video. And we raised $6,000, our little church community, and we hired a professional film crew, production director, Gary Volker, Experience Studios. And long of it was, we did a music video portraying the reality of sex trafficking here. That music video earned Best Music Video at the International Awareness Film Festival in Los Angeles in 2015. And we started a foundation called Destiny House Restoration Center back in 2012-13 when the video was released. And I've been working for 8 years. Oh, my daughter's calling me.
Okay.
I'll call you right back. I'm on an interview.
Look, you made it.
So that's it. So we have a foundation. I've been working with survivors here in the U.S. to help both. We've taken in survivors, and we've also worked to place them in programs across the U.S. and here in the Pacific Northwest. We advocate for them, and we help educate the community, and I'll work with mental health counselors and social workers and families to try to, get healing for them.
What a blessing you are. What a blessing.
Well,
you're amazing.
You are part, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, I want to thank you for popping on here and chatting with me today and getting your message out there. I'm always here for you if you ever need anything, and just phone call away or a chat box away. And you take care.
Thank you.
You take care. Kiss the hubby for me, and keep making some great music. I can't wait to hear what you come out with next.
Okay, honey. Thank you so much, Tamanie, for having me. Love you.
Love you too. See you soon.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Bye. So where's my little mouse? There it is. So thank you for joining me today. I'm gonna try to get some people on soon. So if you need me, just don't hesitate to call me. I think we've got another one coming up next Tuesday with a few more people. So keep writing, keep singing, and keep playing. Bye.